Two men testing out some sonar technology saw something below the lake's surface that shocked them.
Sometimes the most astonishing discoveries happen by pure accident. Recently, a drone captured something truly unexpected while flying over a remote, deserted area.
An accidental discovery at the bottom of Folsom Lake could crack a decades-old case.
What started as a routine survey turned into an unbelievable find hidden deep in the middle of nowhere. Want to know what it unearthed? Let's explore some of the most incredible finds that were uncovered purely by chance and find out how a drone just discovered something in the middle of nowhere by accident. Number 16. Long-lost plane in Folsom Lake's depths. The mystery surrounding the 1965 Folsom Lake, California plane crash may finally be close to being solved, thanks to a stunning discovery made by drones. In a stroke of luck, two men testing sonar and drone technology stumbled upon something extraordinary. What appeared to be the wreckage of the missing aircraft submerged 160 feet underwater. Tyler Atkinson and Jeff Riley, working for Seafloor Systems, had no idea their routine testing in the lake would lead to the discovery of a plane that had been lost for over 50 years. As they guided their drones and sonar devices, the equipment detected an oddly shaped object at one of the lake's deepest points. Upon closer examination, the drone's footage revealed the unmistakable outline of a plane, complete with propeller and wings, eerily preserved in the depths of Folsom Lake. The discovery came just as a severe drought lowered the lake's water levels, providing clearer visibility for the drones to capture these vital images. What makes this even more fascinating is that the wreckage was found miles away from the originally recorded crash site, adding another layer to the mystery. The plane is believed to be the Piper Comanche 250 that went down after a mid-air collision on New Year's Day in 1965. Although the pilot's body was recovered shortly after the crash, the other two victims, along with the aircraft, had remained missing for decades, despite numerous search efforts. The drone's footage shows clear images of the plane's turbine and other parts, but no aircraft number or human remains have been identified just yet, leaving some uncertainty as investigators proceed. With more retrieval efforts expected to follow as water levels continue to drop, the drone's discovery has reignited hopes of bringing closure to a mystery that has haunted families and investigators alike for over half a century. Could this be the final chapter in one of California's long-lost aviation mysteries? Only time and more advanced drone technology will tell. Number 15. Magma beneath Alaska's Volcano-less region. Imagine scientists digging deep into seismic data, searching for answers to the mysteries of earthquakes. What they found instead was even more astonishing. An underground reservoir of magma hidden beneath a volcano-less region of Alaska. The Denali Volcanic Gap, as it's called, has long puzzled geologists. Positioned above one of the most active fault zones in the US, this region should have a volcano, but it never did. Or so we thought. In 2019, scientists embarked on a mission to gather seismic data following a massive 7.1 earthquake that shook Anchorage in 2018. Their instruments picked up something unusual, a seismic velocity anomaly, or in simpler terms, a slow-moving area where seismic waves were being distorted. This anomaly, buried about 7 miles beneath the ground, suggested the presence of molten magma in a place no one expected. For years, geologists have been baffled by the fact that Denali is surrounded by volcanoes to the east and west, but none exist directly in this area. Denali's location, just 60 miles above a fault zone and surrounded by volcanic activity, left many puzzled. Could this newfound magma explain the mystery? The revelation left experts intrigued. Although the magma reservoir seems smaller than the massive volcanoes nearby, its discovery was a shock. Geologists are already planning the next stage of the investigation. They will attempt to get a clearer image of this anomaly, but that will require placing seismic monitors in the challenging, rugged terrain of inland Alaska. Number 14. 1,000-year-old Crusader's sword. In 2021, divers off the coast of Israel stumbled upon an extraordinary find, a medieval sword that had likely belonged to a crusader from 800 to 900 years ago. Caked in sand and covered in seashells, this ancient weapon, nearly 3 feet long, was preserved by the very elements that had buried it for centuries. The Crusades were bloody religious wars fought between Christians and Muslims from AD 1095 to 1291, and the sword offers a peep into that brutal history. But how did this relic end up on the seafloor? Many believe it was dropped during a naval battle, its owner possibly in the heat of combat, never to be retrieved again. Archaeologists first saw the sword as a heavily encrusted object, making it difficult to assess its details. But X-rays revealed the weapon's secrets. A bent blade, likely damaged during battle and abandoned without being repaired. This led researchers to conclude that the sword, now known as the New Yam sword, had been used in fierce, face-to-face combat during the Crusades. The sword's design, though bent and weathered, reveals the importance of these weapons in medieval times. They were beyond tools for battle. They were personal treasures, often passed down through generations. So losing such a prized possession to the sea would have been a devastating, if not fatal, blow for a crusader. Interestingly, this find is one of only a handful of swords from the Crusades ever discovered in the region. Most weapons were recycled for metal after they were no longer usable. And while no human remains were found near the sword, it leaves us wondering, could the warrior who wielded this blade still lie beneath the shifting sands? Number 13. The 18th century toy. Hold on to your hats because this story takes a rather unexpected turn into the realm of history, and yes, even a bit of cheeky intrigue. Imagine a team of archaeologists meticulously excavating the grounds of an 18th century school for swordsmanship in Gdansk, Poland. They're on the hunt for relics that tell tales of warriors and battles long past. But what they unearthed was not just any artifact. It was something that had likely seen a very different sort of action entirely. As the researchers dug through layers of earth, their shovels struck something rather unusual. A large leather object that would soon be revealed as an antique sex toy. Yes, you heard that right. This wasn't just any ordinary find. It was a piece dating back to the 1700s, sitting quietly in what was once a toilet, a rather intimate resting place for such an item. Described as quite thick and rather large, this peculiar artifact featured bristles on the inside and a well-preserved wooden tip. A spokesman from Poland's regional office for the protection of monuments explained the discovery with a mix of amusement and curiosity. "It was probably dropped by someone in the toilet," he said. "Whether that was by accident or on purpose is anyone's guess." One can only imagine the stories swirling around this mysterious mishap. But let's take a moment to appreciate how fascinating this discovery truly is. For centuries, people have created sexual aids using materials ranging from stone and wood to leather and even animal dung. The Institute of Sexology has documented these practices throughout history, revealing that humanity's quest for pleasure has been both inventive and resourceful across cultures and eras. Before stumbling upon this unexpected gem, the archaeologists had already uncovered an impressive collection of old swords at the site. Relics that spoke to the martial prowess and training that took place there. Yet amidst these symbols of combat stood an artifact that whispered secrets about human intimacy, desires, and perhaps even humor from centuries ago. Number 12. An underground world in Turkey. The discovery of Derinkuyu in 1963 was nothing short of accidental. An anonymous resident was losing chickens to a curious crevasse during home renovations when he stumbled upon something extraordinary, a dark passageway leading into an ancient world. This chance encounter opened the floodgates to exploration, as archaeologists unearthed over 600 entrances connected to private homes, revealing an entire civilization tucked away from prying eyes. What lies within those shadowy corridors? As he descended into Derinkuyu's depths, he was enveloped by musty air thick with history. The narrow hallways forced him to navigate single files, each step revealing rooms once used for living, learning, and even worship. Schools adorned with barrel-vaulted ceilings beckoned students eager for knowledge, while wineries hinted at celebrations held beneath the Earth's surface. Skillfully designed stables kept livestock close enough for warmth, yet far enough from everyday living spaces, evidence that those who dwelled here knew how to adapt to their surroundings. But perhaps most remarkable is how this underground city was engineered for survival against invaders. Half-ton boulders could be rolled into place to seal off tunnels during attacks, creating barriers between safety and danger. Tiny holes allowed defenders to protect their homes without exposing themselves, a clever tactic in times of peril. While exploring these depths might induce feelings of confinement, it's hard not to admire the architectural brilliance on display. A sophisticated ventilation system ensured fresh air flowed throughout every level, while a well dug deep into the earth provided clean water, a lifeline for those living below ground for extended periods. Each room served a purpose. No space was wasted in this intricate design, meant for both refuge and community. Now, why would anyone build such a massive underground settlement? Well, it's still up for debate, but most folks think it was created during the early Christian period as a way to protect people from invasions. The city had huge stone doors and narrow passageways, which helped its inhabitants stay safe underground during turbulent times. When peaceful times came, people didn't need to hide anymore, so the city was eventually abandoned. Number 11. Rare photograph, worth millions. In 2010, Randy Gujarro, a telecommunications technician and longtime collector, stumbled upon a rare historical treasure when he purchased a tin-type photograph at an antique shop in Fresno, California. For just $2, Gujarro acquired 3 photos, including one that later turned out to be a rare image of the notorious Wild West outlaw, Billy the Kid, playing croquet with members of his gang, the Regulators. This photograph, taken in 1878, is now valued at an astonishing $5 million. The discovery of the photograph was a result of Gujarro's keen interest in historical memorabilia, as he and his wife Linda had been involved in treasure hunting for years. After examining the tin type under a microscope, Gujarro recognized Billy the Kid based on his distinctive stance and hat. His wife helped identify other members of the gang using historical records and images. The journey to authenticate the photo took 5 years and involved the expertise of scholars, collectors, and facial recognition specialists. The photograph, which captures a moment from 1878 after a wedding, is one of only 2 known authenticated images of Billy the Kid. Its value and historical significance were further highlighted in a National Geographic documentary narrated by Kevin Costner. Number 10. Mysterious Pillar in Utah Desert. On November 18, 2020, as wildlife officials conducted a routine survey of bighorn sheep from the air, fate led them to what would become one of the most talked-about discoveries of the year. The pilot, Brett Hutchings, recalls how the biologist's voice pierced through the hum of the helicopter. "Whoa, whoa, whoa, turn around!" There was urgency in his tone as he directed Hutchings to circle back for another look at this enigmatic structure. The Utah monolith was a metal pillar that stood in a red sandstone slot canyon in northern San Juan County, Utah, United States. The pillar was 9.8 feet tall and made of metal sheets riveted into a triangular prism. It was unlawfully placed on public land between July and October 2016. It stood unnoticed for over 4 years, until its discovery and removal in late 2020. The identity of its makers is unknown, as are their objectives. The team's initial observations hinted at something extraordinary. It appeared undeniably man-made and had been firmly planted into the ground rather than simply dropped there by some unknown force. Jokingly, Hutchings expressed a sense of foreboding. If one of us suddenly disappears, then the rest of us make a run for it. It was a humorous yet telling remark that reflected both their astonishment and instinctive caution about what they were witnessing. Just 2 days later, on November 20th, the Utah Department of Public Safety decided to share this astonishing find with the world through social media. A single photograph was posted on Instagram, igniting curiosity and speculation among followers. As word spread like wildfire across platforms and news outlets alike, people across the globe began to speculate about its origins. Was it art, a bizarre installation, or perhaps something far more sinister? By November 23rd, anticipation grew as the Utah DPS released additional photos and videos showcasing this striking pillar, but withheld its exact location for safety reasons. They were clearly aware that such a discovery could attract attention beyond their control. What lay beneath this mysterious structure? Why was it there? And who had placed it in such an isolated area? As theories swirled online and adventurers plotted trips to uncover its secrets, one thing became clear. This unassuming pillar had transformed from an ordinary natural feature into an international sensation almost overnight. As explorers flocked to investigate further into Utah's wild landscapes in search of answers, or perhaps just a peek of this newfound icon, questions loomed larger than ever before. Each person drawn into this tale brought with them their own stories and interpretations of what they believed this pillar represented. Was it merely an artistic expression, or a message from another time? Following intense media coverage, it was covertly removed on November 27, 2020, by 4 residents of Moab, Utah. After nearly a month in their possession, the monolith was given to the Bureau of Land Management and is currently in their custody. Number 9. Alexander Calder's necklace. Picture this: a bustling flea market in Brooklyn, where the air is thick with the scent of vintage finds and the excitement of treasure hunting. Amidst the chaos, a self-proclaimed flea market junkie sifts through a cardboard box filled with what many would deem junk: old electrical goods and forgotten clothing. Little did she know that she was about to stumble upon a piece of art history worth a small fortune. This isn't just any necklace. It's a brass creation from none other than Alexander Calder, one of the most influential sculptors of the 20th century. It was back in 2013 when this woman, who had made flea market hunting her passion, spotted the necklace tucked away in that unassuming box for a mere $15. Just think about it. For the price of a cup of coffee, she unknowingly acquired an artwork that would later be valued at up to $300,000. How often do you hear stories like that? It's like finding a golden ticket in a chocolate bar. A few years later, our lucky finder happened upon another similar necklace while flipping through the pages of Philadelphia Weekly. The magazine was promoting an exhibition at the Philadelphia Art Museum titled Calder Jewelry. Her curiosity piqued, and she couldn't shake off the feeling that her flea market find might be something extraordinary. After all, how many people casually come across jewelry by one of modern art's greats? Encouraged by a friend, she reached out to Christie's, one of the world's leading auction houses. There, she met Elizabeth Agro, an associate curator at Christie's who had organized an exhibition dedicated to Calder's jewelry back in 2008. After examining the necklace closely, Miss Agro was convinced of its authenticity and urged her to take it to the Calder Foundation for further verification. When confirmation came back that this necklace was indeed genuine Calder work, it sent ripples through both the art and auction worlds. Suddenly, what began as an innocent hunt for vintage treasures transformed into an exhilarating journey toward potential wealth and recognition. Number 8. The Uluburun shipwreck site. In the summer of 1982, a local sponge diver named Mehmet Çakır made a remarkable discovery off the east shore of Uluburun, Turkey. What began as an ordinary day for Çakır transformed into a moment that would unlock a treasure trove of history, a shipwreck dating back to the late 14th century BC, revealing artifacts that had lain undisturbed for millennia. As he sketched what he described as metal biscuits with ears, little did he know that these oxide ingots would lead to one of the most significant archaeological finds in the Mediterranean. With excitement bubbling beneath the surface, Çakır's sketches prompted Ötzi Alpazen, director of the Bodrum Museum of Underwater Archaeology, to assemble a team from both the museum and the Institute of Nautical Archaeology, INA. Together, they embarked on an adventure to locate this submerged vessel. Their efforts paid off when they discovered copper ingots merely 50 meters from shore, an indication that they were onto something monumental. Over 11 campaigns spanning a decade from 1984 to 1994, divers plunged into these waters for over 22,000 dives, meticulously uncovering artifacts that painted a vivid picture of life during the late Bronze Age. As researchers examined the cargo aboard this ancient ship, they pieced together its probable route and intended destination. Evidence suggested that it likely set sail from either Cyprus or a Syro-Palestinian port, heading toward regions west of Cyprus. Speculations arose about its final stop. Rhodes emerged as a potential hub for redistribution in the Aegean Sea. However, excavators theorized that this vessel was ultimately bound for one of the Mycenaean palaces in mainland Greece, an intriguing notion that invites questions about trade and cultural exchange during this vibrant period. Dating such an ancient wreck requires precision and expertise. With the expertise of Peter Kuijholm from Cornell University, who undertook dendrochronological dating using tree ring analysis on wood samples found with the ship's cargo. His findings suggested that at least one branch dated back to as late as 1305 BC. Yet, without preserved bark, determining its exact age proved tricky. After recalibrating with radiocarbon data from Anatolia's dendrochronological records, Kuijholm proposed an even earlier date of around 1327 BC for when this majestic ship met its watery grave. Number 7. Ötzi the Iceman. Picture a desolate mountain pass where the chill of ancient winds whispers secrets of a long-lost civilization. In 1991, situated within the melting ice of the Tisenjok Pass, a remarkable discovery awaited: Ötzi the Iceman. This well-preserved mummy, dating back over 5,000 years to the early Copper Age, was found at an altitude of 3,200 meters on the border between Italy and Austria. As scientists and archaeologists began to unravel this story, they uncovered not just a body, but a snapshot of life during a time when humanity was on the cusp of transformation. Ötzi's belongings told tales of survival and adaptation in a harsh environment. Among them were a bow with arrows, a copper-bladed axe, and intricate garments crafted from animal hides. Each artifact painted a vivid picture of his existence and hinted at his status within society. How did he die? Theories surrounding Ötzi's death have captivated both scholars and the public alike. One compelling narrative suggests that he met a tragic end during a violent encounter. An arrow lodged deep in his shoulder, leading to his demise atop the mountain. It's a dramatic tale that has fueled imaginations for decades, painting Ötzi as a solitary warrior who succumbed to violence amidst a breathtaking alpine setting. However, as further research emerged, this romanticized version faced scrutiny. Recent studies proposed an alternative theory. What if Ötzi was not merely the victim of an unfortunate accident, but rather part of a ritualistic burial? Evidence points to his body being carefully placed in the snow after death, possibly signifying political power or tribal control over their territory. As researchers meticulously mapped out over 400 artifacts found near him, they realized that these items had shifted downslope due to ice flow over time. This revelation altered our understanding of how Ötzi came to rest beneath layers of snow and ice. The pollen analysis indicated he died in early spring when conditions were still treacherous. Could it be that he was left there intentionally as part of a burial rite? This notion opens up new avenues for understanding not just Ötzi himself, but also the cultural practices surrounding death and power dynamics in Copper Age society. Number 6. Charlotte Bronte's ring. In a quiet attic in Wales, a remarkable piece of literary history lay hidden, waiting to be uncovered. During an episode of the Antiques Roadshow aired on April 14, 2019, a mourning ring was revealed that may very likely hold the lock of hair belonging to none other than Charlotte Bronte. Discovered by the owner, who had inherited it from her late father-in-law, this ring contained more than just sentimental value. It bore an inscription with Bronte's name and the date of her death, March 31, 1855. As the owner meticulously searched for a key to open the ring and a magnifying glass to examine its details, expert Geoffrey Munn expressed his astonishment at the findings. The intricate plaited hair within the ring speaks of a bracelet that Charlotte once wore containing strands from her sisters. Munn stated there was very little reason to doubt its authenticity, reinforcing its credibility through consistent historical context tied to Bronte's life. While Munn estimated the ring's base value at £25 due to its craftsmanship, its true worth soared to £20,000 because of the unique connection to Bronte and the significance of the hair enclosed within. Mourning rings like this one served as tangible symbols of grief during the Victorian era, a way for individuals to keep their loved ones close, even after death. These pieces often featured inscriptions and locks of hair believed to contain fragments of identity and essence. The act of weaving hair into mourning jewelry provided solace and comfort for those left behind, allowing them to carry a piece of their loved one with them always. Though less common today, mourning rings remain powerful artifacts imbued with deep emotional resonance and historical significance, especially when linked to influential figures such as Charlotte Bronte. Now, it's time for today's subscriber pick. A drone, while cruising over what seemed like an endless, desolate expanse, accidentally stumbled upon something peculiar, something no one expected. A group of people huddled around a spot in the middle of a hilly mangrove, digging relentlessly. But what were they searching for? The picture shows the urgency in their movements, the sweat dripping down their brows as if they're racing against time. Could they be on the verge of uncovering a secret buried deep within this forgotten land? Or is it something even more mysterious? What do you think they're about to find? Let us know in the comments section. Number 5. Dead Sea Scrolls. From late 1946 to early 1947, Bedouin shepherds made one of the most significant archaeological discoveries of the 20th century, the Dead Sea Scrolls. While tending their sheep near Qumran, a shepherd named Muhammad ed-Dib, along with his cousins Jum'a Muhammad and Khalil Musa, stumbled upon the first of these ancient scrolls. It all started when ed-Dib, after noticing some caves, fell into one and found a collection of scrolls stored in jars. These turned out to be manuscripts, including the Isaiah Scroll, the Habakkuk Commentary, and the Community Rule. At first, the shepherds weren't aware of the value of their find. They hung the scrolls on a tent pole in their camp while they considered what to do. After an unsuccessful attempt to sell the scrolls to an antique dealer in Bethlehem, they eventually connected with Khalil Iskander Shaheen, better known as Kando, who was both a cobbler and a part-time antiquities dealer. Kando helped facilitate the sale of some of the scrolls. The discovery soon caught the attention of scholars. In 1947, John C. Trevor of the American Schools of Oriental Research, ASOR, examined the scrolls and realized their significance after comparing their script to the Nash Papyrus, an ancient biblical manuscript. As unrest in the region grew due to the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, some scrolls were moved to Beirut for safekeeping. By April 1948, Miller Burroughs, the head of ASOR, publicly announced the discovery of the scrolls, sparking international interest. This discovery would eventually lead to more explorations in the area, resulting in the unearthing of numerous other scrolls, which offered invaluable insights into Jewish life and religious practices during the Second Temple period. Number 4. Edinburgh Vaults. Beneath the South Bridge. Beneath the bustling streets of Edinburgh lies a hidden world, a labyrinthine network of chambers known as the Edinburgh Vaults or South Bridge Vaults. Constructed in the late 18th century, these vaults were initially designed to accommodate various businesses, from taverns to workshops. However, as time passed and conditions deteriorated, they transformed into something far darker. The vaults were completed in 1788 as part of the South Bridge Act of 1785, spanning the Cowgate Gorge and connecting the Old Town with the burgeoning South Side and the University of Edinburgh. For approximately 30 years, they served their intended purpose until flooding and poor air quality forced their abandonment. As businesses fled in the early 1800s, the vaults became a refuge for the city's poorest citizens, turning into a notorious slum plagued by crime and squalor. Families crammed into cramped spaces where sunlight never reached, living amid dampness and decay. Rumors swirled about illegal activities within their dark corners, gambling dens, illicit distilleries, and even whispers of body snatchers using the vaults to hide corpses overnight. Despite their grim reputation, it wasn't until an excavation in 1985 that evidence of human habitation was discovered. Midden deposits containing toys, medicine bottles, and plates revealed that life had once thrived in these underground chambers. The vaults had been forgotten for decades until former Scottish rugby player Norrie Rowan stumbled upon a tunnel leading to them in the 1980s while assisting a fellow rugby player seeking asylum from Romania. The subsequent excavations conducted by Rowan and his son unearthed hundreds of artifacts, including thousands of oyster shells, shedding light on a forgotten chapter of Edinburgh's history. These vaults serve as a haunting reminder of the city's past, an embodiment of both its entrepreneurial spirit and its struggles with poverty and crime. Number 3. 14,000-year-old mammoth. In a remarkable turn of events, the remnants of a colossal woolly mammoth, believed to be around 14,000 years old, have been uncovered in Toltepec, Mexico. This significant discovery was made by chance in December 2016 while drainage pipes were being installed in the village near Mexico City. As the excavation began, archaeologists soon realized they had stumbled upon a treasure trove of prehistoric history. Since April 2016, experts from the National Institute of Anthropology and History have meticulously worked at the site, where they hope to complete their research shortly. Luis Cordoba, one of the leading archaeologists on the project, revealed that more than 50 mammoth remains had previously been identified in the vicinity of Mexico City. This area was once home to a shallow saltwater lake during prehistoric times, an ideal environment for preserving such large remains. The lake's unique conditions contributed to the excellent state of preservation seen in the Toltepec mammoth. What sets this discovery apart is its potential for study. While other mammoth remains have been found in Toltepec before, they often went unreported or unexamined due to timing issues. However, this particular specimen is approximately 3/4 complete and remarkably well preserved, with its tusks still attached to its skull. The mammoth stood an impressive 3.5 meters tall and measured 5 meters in length, weighing around 5 tons at the time of its life. Preliminary analysis suggests that the remains do not maintain an anatomical order, indicating that ancient humans may have cut it up for its meat or pelt. Number 2. The Rosetta Stone. The Rosetta Stone, a remarkable artifact of history, stands as proof of the intersection of culture, politics, and linguistic discovery. This dark-colored granodiorite stela, inscribed with the same text in 3 distinct scripts, Demotic, Hieroglyphic, and Greek, was discovered in July 1799 by French soldiers during Napoleon's campaign in Egypt. Unearthed in the city of Rosetta, modern-day El Rashid, the stone would go on to become one of the most significant archaeological finds known to humanity. The stone's inscriptions were pivotal for scholars seeking to understand ancient Egyptian language and culture. Officer Pierre-François Xavier Bouchard recognized its potential immediately upon discovering the juxtaposed Greek and hieroglyphic scripts. His insight that these scripts represented translations of a single text laid the groundwork for future decipherment efforts. The inscription detailed a decree issued in 1960 BCE during the reign of King Ptolemy, 5 Epiphanies, celebrating his coronation and outlining royal benefactions to temples across Egypt. Since its discovery, the Rosetta Stone has transcended its original purpose, becoming an international icon symbolizing knowledge and cultural heritage. It currently resides in the British Museum, where it serves as a reminder of the colonial ambitions that shaped its journey from Egypt to Britain. The stone bears inscriptions marking it as captured in Egypt by the British Army, 1801, a reflection of the complex historical narrative surrounding it. For various communities, including Egyptians who view it as a symbol of national pride and cultural identity, the Rosetta Stone represents different things. Some advocate for its repatriation to Egypt, arguing that its removal exemplifies colonial theft. Its role in deciphering Egyptian scripts has also led to its metaphorical use as a term describing anything that decodes complexities or reveals hidden meanings, most notably adopted by businesses like language learning software. Number 1. Penicillin. Imagine a world where infections could run rampant, where a simple cut could lead to dire consequences. It was a time not so long ago when even the smallest wound posed a significant threat to life. But what if I told you that one man's messy kitchen experiment would change the course of medicine forever? In 1928, Alexander Fleming, a Scottish bacteriologist, returned from a holiday to find something peculiar in his lab at St. Mary's Hospital in London. His workspace, usually neat and orderly, was now adorned with petri dishes that had been left unattended. Among them was one dish that caught his eye. It was contaminated with mold. Instead of discarding the dish like any sensible scientist might have done, Fleming leaned in closer to inspect it. What he discovered was nothing short of miraculous. The mold belonged to the genus Penicillium, and it had created an environment so hostile for the surrounding bacteria that they were unable to grow. This accidental observation sparked an idea in Fleming's mind. What if this mold produced a substance that could kill bacteria? His curiosity ignited, and he decided to investigate further. Fleming meticulously extracted the mold's active ingredient and named it penicillin. However, like many great inventions born from accidents, it took years for penicillin to be developed into a practical treatment for bacterial infections. During World War II, scientists Howard Florey and Ernst Boris Chain recognized its potential and worked tirelessly to mass-produce penicillin. Their efforts culminated in saving countless lives on the battlefield and beyond. Fast forward to today, and penicillin is hailed as one of the most significant medical breakthroughs in history. It ushered in the age of antibiotics, transforming how we treat infections and drastically reducing mortality rates from bacterial diseases. Can you imagine a world without it? The thought alone sends shivers down your spine. Who knew that sometimes a little messiness can lead to monumental breakthroughs? Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.